Hi, and welcome to SpondyCast, where we bring together the best medical minds, thought leaders, scientists, patients, and caregivers to inform and inspire the spondylitis community. I'm your host, Jill Miller, living my best spa life, knowing that how we meet today has the power to change everything going forward. Hi, and welcome to SpondyCast. Our guest today is Ann Poladian, who is very active in the spondyloarthritis community. But more importantly today, she is also a post-secondary college counselor and educational consultant who primarily is focused on helping students at the high school and college level with accommodations when they are required, and has some background in the spondyloarthritis community. She has also been serving on the Spondylitis Association of America's board of directors with me for the last 4 years. And I am so thrilled to have her here to talk about this as I send my first one off to college in 3 weeks. So Ann, welcome to SpondyCast.
Thank you so much, Jill. Yes, it's that time of year as students are preparing for the fall, either starting high school or a new year of high school or starting college, right?
Crazy.
So this is such a timely topic right now, especially. So thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit, we know each other well, but tell me a little bit about your journey to becoming a counselor and someone that supports students who need accommodations.
I'd like to start way back with my own children, if you don't mind. Is that
Absolutely.
okay? Yeah, and then start that journey. So 2004, almost 20 years ago now, it's kind of takes my breath away a little bit. 2004, my daughter was experiencing issues after an accident. She slipped and fell. She's a water polo player, slipped and fell on the deck and had continued back pain, lower back pain. We went to every single orthopedic in our county, no resolution. Finally, a physical therapist told me there is something more going on here. You need to see a rheumatologist. Here I am, so brilliant, saying her hands are fine. Her fingers are fine.
Right? Rheumatoid. So you were thinking rheumatoid?
I was thinking rheumatoid arthritis, right? Like she doesn't have rheumatoid arthritis. Little did I know at the time there are over 140 something, maybe more forms of arthritis, right? So yeah, but that started the journey. That's where it all began. And then we found Spondylitis Association. She went to her first educational support meeting with other individuals in 2005 at the ripe old age of 14. Aww. Looked around the room and thought, oh, there's no one here my age. And there's very few females here, so it's like, that was kind of an interesting thing for her. And she was navigating the whole high school process too. She was an athlete. How do you be an athlete with ankylosing spondylitis? So then working with her rheumatologist and getting some guidelines was really helpful for us, both in the academic setting and again, also with continuing in the sport that she loved, which was so critical to her self-esteem and her identity, right? So we worked with her rheumatologist, got it done. Little did we know that my son, a year and a half later, would also be diagnosed with ankylosing spondylitis, and he was a basketball and volleyball player.
Wow.
So I worked with my kids. I sought out as many resources as I could, individuals with expertise everywhere I could. And we navigated the high school process with the appropriate accommodations in place. And that was really helpful to helping them be successful.
And is that when you took a transition in your career? Because I know if you still get discounts on your former product, which for our listeners is something that are wrinkles.
So my daughter went off to Princeton. She was recruited to be a water polo player.
Princeton.
My son followed in her footsteps and was not recruited to play a sport, but also went to Princeton to our surprise. The day I sent him off to college, I got back and started with the college counseling program, UC Irvine. So that began my own journey now to help others, to like pay it forward to what I had learned.
It's amazing the beautiful things that can come out of the pain of a mother.
Absolutely, Jill. Yes.
It's unreal. Because I'm sure thousands of kids you've
worked with now?
I might be approaching 1,000. Yeah,
Okay.
but certainly hundreds and hundreds over the last almost 17 years. But yeah, it's that feeling of like, yes, had I not gone through this, like, what, I went back to college after such a long time, but I was really motivated to do that. So I was a little bit afraid, but I was like, yeah, I got this. I know I can do this.
So what, if you don't mind me asking and they don't mind talking, or you speaking for your children or other kids that you've worked with, for juvenile SPA, how have you seen that affect school attendance or performance over time?
Such a good question. So with ankylosing spondylitis, right, or it's that lower back pain that starts early in the morning, usually waking up in pain, right? And then that process to get moving again, shower, stretching, medication, whatever it is that works for that individual, right? And get moving. And sometimes if the person's experiencing a flare, all those tips and tricks and medications don't necessarily work as well as they have. So my own son missed 37 first period calculus classes 1 year in one semester.
What was his major at Princeton?
He was an engineering and philosophy major, but this was in high school.
So it was okay. He did fine.
He did fine. So they wanted to take him out of accelerated classes because he was missing so many sessions. And I got an accommodation that he had an exception to the policy.
Yeah.
So it's, again, kind of, if you don't ask, you don't get, in a kind of a situation that way too. But it's like, they had never granted that accommodation before. No one had ever, asked for it before. And so, like, adapting, being flexible, seeking out the things that you think will help your student be successful, leveling the playing field, removing those obstacles to student success is such an important thing.
Yes. Yeah. And even just in the day-to-day of school, I mean, I think about it at work. I always say, we talk about inclusion a lot. And I always say, sometimes inclusion means my wrists are on fire by the time I'm done typing. I can't type. Don't send me stuff that makes me type all day long. And I think kids get the same. Or I think the walking pass is a really great one for kids with SPA.
Absolutely.
That they can get up and walk around because they need to, right? They're
absolutely. If you have a block class, it's more than that 45, 50-minute period. They absolutely need to get up. And both of my children have that accommodation. In fact, for tests, especially tests, they have the ability to walk. And then testing in a distraction-free environment where they're not distracting others with their getting up and walking has been key also for them, both in high school and college. Yes, absolutely.
It's funny, when I was a kid, everyone used to just think that I couldn't sit still and that I was a fidget, is what they used to call me. And
you were just getting comfortable.
I didn't, well, I mean, I wasn't diagnosed till I was almost 40, but I think I do it now. I get up and I stand in meetings and walk around because it makes me feel better. And the brain fog goes away when you're not in pain.
Right. So there's clarity around what you're working on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, there are, and I'm not sure if it's state to state, but there are legal protections in place for children with a medical condition, both at the high school and college level.
Right. And there's different laws that protect students in K through 12 versus in college. In fact, I wrote an article for the Spondy Plus for fall 2022, and I have great links in there. I'm hoping that that anyone who's interested can find those links. I have great links to, like, resources for how do you get guidelines for accommodations for your student, right? Working with your physician. Also, like, what are the legal protections a student has when they move on to post-secondary education? Different than, and then what type of documentation that's laid the foundation of your accommodations in high school, perhaps, that would be documentation you can submit for college. Yeah, so, and I kind of wanted to review all those types of accommodations too, Jill, at some point.
Yeah, that I would love it. That would be great, because that was my next question.
So, again, there's a number of accommodations, and usually they look at it in terms of how will this level of playing field when it comes to like those activities of functional daily living, right? How will it like, again, remove the obstacle for the student, right? So is it extended time for a test, testing in an area where they can get up and move? And then as far as day-to-day, like extended time to submit assignments, or projects. So this is in the high school setting again, and then getting from class to class. Some high school campuses are large, and getting that extra time to get to class, so they're not considered late to class, or even scheduling issues to be able to allow for strategic scheduling for classrooms even.
Oh, yeah. So they maximize, so it's
efficient.
I know. I mean, our high school where my kids go is 1 million square feet under one roof. It's crazy.
Yeah. So again, like, yes, a student can be late, but what have they missed in class, right? And so the goal would be not to have them miss that class time and get them quickly to the next class, right? And then moving on to the college setting, like again, they can get separate housing accommodations, right? So they're not on the 4th floor of a walk-up building with no elevator, right? First floor, perhaps, or definitely a building with an elevator. So, and then that's housing. Accommodations, it can be anything from, again, extended time, distraction-free testing, or testing in their own private room. And that's done through disability services. I'll talk about that a little bit more. And then getting professors' notes ahead of time. Having an anonymous note taker, which works through disability services, where disability services hire someone in the student's class. They take notes anonymously. They send them to disability services. They're then sent to the student.
Oh, so there's no double blind.
There's double blind, so there's no stigma attached to the student, right? And
I love it.
I love it. It's a win-win. Another student gets to earn, money by doing this wonderful service, and then the student is not stigmatized by knowing who's the person in class who's getting their notes. So it's like, again, removing obstacles and then leveling that playing field. I would like to move into like college accommodations, if that makes sense.
Yeah, this would be really interesting, because I think this is probably, as parents who might be listening, or kids who are heading off, it's your first time away, and it's really can be scary, I imagine, for some kids, but I'm sure it sounds like there's a lot of good stuff out there.
And college is a time of transition, right, for students, right? Higher level academics. And stress, right? Probably, most likely living away from home. Not all students, but there's certainly another level of independence, getting themselves to and from school, even if they're commuting, right? There's like relationship issues that can come up, health issues for all students, right? It's such a time of transition. Roommate issues. Yeah. So much is going on. And then a student is coming with, I have to be able to take care of myself on a whole nother level if I'm away at school, that comes with it, right? So it's like, it's already a huge time for students of transition. And now just one more thing for that student, like, how do I get my medication delivered to my college if I'm on a biologic? If I'm doing infusions, how do I get infusions locally?
Oh, I hadn't thought of that.
So, so many things to think about and plan for ahead of time in college. It doesn't mean that students can't go away, though. There are ways to like plan ahead, work with doctors, either your home doctor or the doctor you're going to maybe see while you're away at college, making sure you have all those plans in place, and the doctors have a chance to communicate too. So again, you have like that continuum of continuity of care, right? So it's, so important. But again, any student, like, I feel like the student should be able to dream big, go where they want to go, and that there's ways they can figure it out, Jill.
So have you ever, I'm assuming you have, heard from students when they make it to the other side, out of student land, and give you feedback on how you were able to impact their journey? or good stories?
When just receiving graduation cards, oh my goodness, I'm just broken up, like they made it, they did it. Right. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say aggregately of kids who need accommodations 20, 30, 50 years ago, most of those kids never even thought that it was an option to go to school or continue on past high school. I don't know if there's data. I mean,
I don't have that data, Jill, but it's really interesting. Yeah.
But I wonder, like, how many kids get the opportunity. I often think of, somewhere I read there's like a high number of mechanical and electrical engineers who have dyslexia and they make it through. And I think of and this is a different reason for accommodation, but I think of the number of kids 20 or 30 or 50 years ago that went through as engineers, or they had an engineering brain, right? Like, to me, engineers see the world differently. And that's probably why a high number of them have dyslexia, or spondies were like warriors. But I always think of the number of engineers the world never got because someone looked at that kid and thought that they weren't worthy or couldn't make it through and didn't accommodate the world the way they saw it or the world that they need to live in. And I'm guessing it's the same with an illness, right? Or condition, we'll call it, like spondylitis. So, okay. So we have a couple minutes left. We talked about legal. How do kids, so most kids will see a rheumatologist. If they go off to college, they'll keep their home rheumatologist and then continuity of care.
They're able, the shortage of rheumatologists, if they're able to get into a rheumatologist within a time frame where they could actually see someone. Otherwise, they're going home during the holidays and maybe scheduling their appointments during the holidays if they're not able to see a rheumatologist at way at college. Yeah.
Okay. So managing all the aspects, the emotional and the pain piece while you're in college or even in high school can be difficult. And I'm sure there's a a spectrum. For the kids themselves or young adults themselves and for family around them, or maybe even their potential roommate, what can children do to help themselves? And what can parents and family and roommates do to help as well to manage some of those acute moments?
That's a good question. Again, from an academic setting, getting those college, applying through disability services and getting those accommodations in place, right? That's number one. I don't know if you've ever heard of the spoon story. Have you ever heard of that spoon story?
Yeah, I've used that with my kids.
My daughter shares it with everyone. She really does. She really feels like it just brings a message home like, hey, I'm out of spoons today.
Tell the story, because I don't think we've ever told it. Do you remember it?
I'm going to give you the very much abbreviated version, but yeah. A girl was invited out to lunch, and I might not get it right, but she felt like she couldn't say yes. She wasn't feeling well, but she went anyway. She went out to lunch with her friend, and she tried to explain to her friend, like, this isn't anything on you. This is like the way I feel right now. Like, and I know you may not understand this. And she just laid out spoons and said, I have this many spoons every day. And it takes me so many spoons to get ready. It takes me so many spoons to take my medication and stretch, et cetera, and pack up and get out the door and take whatever medications I need. And by the time I get to where I only have a few spoons left. And some days if I'm having a flare like me, or I'm not feeling well, maybe I have no spoons left. And like, that's why I have to cancel sometimes. I have no spoons left for the day. And if you see me like isolated or withdrawn or whatever, it's like, I may be like minus spoons, basically, right? Like, or I might have to borrow spoons from the next day to get through that day, right? And so it's such a lovely story when you put it in those terms. And my daughter just shares that story with others. They get it.
It's really profound. And I remember sharing it with my kids 7, 8 years ago. And so they were really young and they got it. They were like, oh, she's out of spoons. I get it. And I was in debt. I was in like massive spoon debt for a while there. I owed I owe the world like 72,000 spoons.
And my apologies to the writer of that story that I butchered it. My apologies, but I think hopefully I captured the essence of it. That, yeah.
It is, and the way I translate that today, and it's the caregivers or the parents or the friends on the other side. It's like, don't take it personally or make assumptions that it's something against you. It's just, it's where my energy and body
that I didn't want to spend time with you, that I didn't like, that I wasn't being lazy, that I wasn't being like, it's just, that's what's going on with me right now. As a parent, it was hard for me to even learn that lesson from my own children.
Yeah, that is hard. Okay, I'm going to ask you one more question. Where are your children now?
So now my adult children. So my daughter is finishing up her last year of her dermatology residency at Harbor UCLA.
Yay.
Yes, and she actually loves the derm room clinic. She loves that because she'll see a lot of like psoriatic arthritis or those types of diseases, and it's like she feels a strong connection to those patients, especially.
Yeah.
And my son is an attorney. He was practicing in New York for 3 years and just moved to Los Angeles. Took the bar this past week, at the California bar.
Oh.
Yeah. So, yeah. And he got married in May. So, yeah. So I'm really excited.
Unstoppable spondies.
Unstoppable.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I know you have a busy afternoon, so I am going to let you off the hook early here. This has been wonderful. And please tell your kids we appreciate them letting you share some of their lives to inspire other people. And thank you for all that you do. And I can't wait to see you in September.
Thank you, Jill.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Happy back to school.
Happy back to school, everybody.
All right.
SpondyCast was made possible by donations from the Spondylitis Association of America's individual members and our show's corporate sponsor, AbbVie. Since our founding in 1983, the Spondylitis Association of America has been the face, voice, and leading nationwide nonprofit educating, empowering, and advocating for people living with spondyloarthritis. Through our extensive work with patients, the medical community, and partners, we provide information and resources to help people impacted by the disease live better lives and champion research to find a cure.